Hey everybody, welcome to Adam Does Hard Things. Today we're going to talk about adapting. Last time we talked about perception, and today is about how to adapt when things don't go the way you want them to, which is most of the time. Training for long rides and life is a lot about adaptation and figuring out how to deal with the crap that turns up. So this weekend was Polaroll 2024. I went in not really having any solid goals. I just wanted to have a good time. I wanted to do my best, all really vague stuff. I didn't really even have process goals because I've had some minor issues happen in the past couple of years at this race, so I never know what to expect. And I didn't want to have expectations. I didn't want to find myself out there missing a goal in the first 10 minutes and then getting in my head about, I didn't get this goal. I'm not going to get this certain result. And I didn't want any of that stuff in my head. I just wanted to enjoy the race. So that was my plan setting in. So I'm going to show you why I had to adapt so much. Just a little snippet. If you can see my race number. Oh, snapped it clean off. So my start was actually pretty excellent. You leave Ishpeming High School and hit a significant hill. It's not crazy and it's on the road, so it's not terrible, but it's a hill and it's usually pretty fast. It's a quick start and it wasn't quite as hard this time. I managed to not be in like the front group, like the top 20, but I was up there. I was in the top 30. I was feeling pretty good. My legs felt excellent going up the hill. I wasn't getting that like burning lactate sensation right away like I usually do. It's cold. Started out about 4 degrees and you don't really do much of a warm-up, so it's kind of just throwing yourself into the fray. So I felt great. Got onto the single track and my glasses started to fog up fairly badly. It wasn't too bad yet, and then I realized that I had way too much pressure in my tires. It's been a battle for me because the last couple years I had not enough air and I lost air. So I started a little bit soft, which if you know anything about fat biking, especially when the snow is soft, you need your tires to be soft and supple so they can spread out and you get better traction. Well, I would start out too soft and then lose a few PSI and just be flopping everywhere. So sorry, I'm having a really hard time with the sun and I want to get away from the dogs barking. I started off too high because I thought, well, every year I lose like 3 PSI. So if I start at 8.5 to 9, I'm going to lose 3-ish. I'll wind up back down at like 5 to 6, which is right where I need to be. And that did not happen. I didn't lose any air. They stayed totally inflated. So I hit the soft single track with 8 to 9 PSI in my tires. And it was awful. I was bouncing. I was not quite crashing yet because I could still kind of see, but I was bouncing everywhere and it was tough. It was a hard time. So then I'm like, I gotta stop. I gotta let air out. And my valve stems were completely plugged. So I couldn't get any air out of my tires whatsoever. So I've already stopped now. I've lost 5 or 6 places. I gotta get going again. So I start going and I hear somebody like, oh, you got too much air in your tires. That's why you're sliding. I'm like, yeah, thanks. Thanks for the info there. But yeah, and then my glasses basically completely froze over so I couldn't see anything at all. I was basically flying blind, rocketing down crazy descents, hitting single track, trying to find the good rut for my tire, and I was getting frustrated. I had some time there where I was really, really happy and I was really positive, and then I got, there was some frustration, but I was like, okay, you just gotta adapt. You gotta keep moving, keep pushing, just stay at it. And I managed to stay pretty positive. Jamie told me I was complaining, but I wasn't complaining. I was excited about the misery and the suffering that I was overcoming. And then everything went sideways, literally. I went down a big descent, and I mean 25-ish miles an hour, and this is soft snow, so you're just flying. I had my dropper post down, and I was straddling my bike to try and see, flopping all over the place, and I couldn't see anything. I had like this tiny little window in my glasses that I could sort of see through, and you're kind of looking down, like trying to find the rut, and my front wheel hit the wrong rut and pulled me off the trail, and I biffed it. I mean, I ate I want to say the word and bleep it out, but I don't know how to do that yet. So, you know, I ate it. Handlebar went into my thigh. I flew into a tree. And just, I had to get up and shake myself off, you know, shake my ice beard and look down. My number's broken. I'm like, okay, cool. So I start going again. And with another interaction with the rider that I'd stopped to talk to, I realized that my Garmin head unit was no longer on my bike. So then I started to get frustrated. I stopped, still couldn't see. Glasses are so fogged up. I'm like, well, I have a cloth in my backpack. I didn't want to stop and take it out. So I'm like, well, I might as well stop and take the cloth out. Couldn't really get the glasses clean. They were close, but it wasn't great. So then I started to look for my Garmin. Thought I found the impact site. Nothing. I walked at least a quarter mile back on the trail, and it was only it was right before the hill, I think. Or I was right after the hill. I don't know. I couldn't find it. Story over. It was gone. So I was frustrated. I kind of wanted to throw my bike in the woods. It was really irritating. So I got back to my bike. I ate some food. Took a breath. I was like, well, I'm going to finish this thing one way or another. I'm going to earn that hat and I'm going to earn the cookie. So I got back on the bike and I started pedaling, and then quickly was like, you know what? I got to adapt. I got to change the attitude back. I can't let this get to me. It is what it is. The Garmin's gone. It's stuff. It's expensive, but it's replaceable. So I just kept pushing, and yeah, things started to get better. Just stuck with it. So got to Hugs and Bacon, which is a big aid station, if you will, where they have bacon and beverages. And I ran up to the wheel of destiny that you spin for a shot, and I looked at the guy and I just said, forget the damn wheel, give me a shot of Malort. So I did that, and then, you know, if I have a shot of Malort, nothing can get worse than that. So I've already experienced the worst thing that can happen today, so we're gonna finish it out. So I did, and I got a napkin and cleaned my glasses off, and was actually able to see for most of the last, I don't know where Hugs and Bacon was, because I didn't have any idea what distance I was at or how long I was out there, because I had no data, because I had no computer, which, you know, it's fine. So I finished a lot slower than I would have liked, honestly. I was about 4.5 hours, but like I said, I had no expectations of results going in, which I think was a boon for me, because had I set goals, I would have broken I wouldn't have met any of them almost right away when I had that crash, because that was a third of the way through, maybe like 8 or 9 miles out of 27. So yeah, that would have been a miserable day, but I just had to adapt to the circumstances, and that's what so much of this is about. Setting up your expectations going into something, knowing that anything can change in a moment's notice, and not to be too attached to the outcome, but instead living in the process. And when you live in the process instead of the outcome, it enables you to adapt very quickly, because you know the outcome is completely out of your control. So it's pointless to sit there and obsess about your result or what's going to happen at the end, because the only thing that can change what happens at the end is the process, and nailing the process and getting through the little things, the day-to-day, the grind, the tough little things that drive us crazy. That's where the adaptation happens, and that's what affects the outcome. So yeah, that's the word of the day: adapt. And as for the gear portion, teaser, we're going to do that tomorrow. I'm going to get this video up, and then tomorrow I'm going to bring you my second piece of clothing that you cannot live without for winter riding, and I would argue all year riding. So that's it for today. Thank you for joining me here at Adam Does Hard Things, and I'll be right back at you tomorrow.